This video is sponsored by Inventor AI.
I'm the biggest skeptic around, and what I saw can't happen. What I saw is impossible, but I saw it. When I was there at this testing, I'm seeing these scientists, physicists and engineers stuff, they're all scratching their heads. They've been struggling for a year now to explain what is actually happening. He's been developing these technologies using plasma, and it's frequency-based. There had actually been a couple of attempts on his life, and he got so freaked out, he never went back to his laboratory. He came right over to America.
Man, and you've seen this?
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Wow.
Oh boy. This is the type of video you'll want to watch until the very end. It's astonishing that this isn't making headlines everywhere. This is the most Nikola Tesla-like discovery that we've ever had the chance to see in action. It's a testimony to how ancient knowledge can be harnessed to literally develop something that could change life on our planet. Yet, here we are, often trapped in the rat race, not paying enough attention to what truly matters. I bet you're going to like this one. Let's begin.
It's almost as if there is this proportional template. You know, the way it's been described is the ancient master builders were attempting to replicate the processes by which God built the universe. This is why Freemasons refer to God as the great architect, because God geometrizes, that all of creation has this geometry inherent in it. And when you start looking, it's there.
Yeah.
You can see it, to the point where, no, you cannot dismiss this as coincidence anymore.
Yeah.
There's some kind of a pattern here.
I've been really getting into the Sean Ryan show lately. Sean has a unique ability to uncover significant insights that are often overlooked. Just consider the fact that the government holds all the secrets, all the technology, all the advanced knowledge, much of which the public rarely hears about. It's compelling to realize that even within top levels like the Pentagon, there's acknowledgement of ancient technologies. You really can't make this stuff up. It becomes clear that while these truths are known within government circles, mainstream attention often overlooks them. The general public, distracted by consumerism, misses out on these significant revelations. The situation begs the question, what other profound knowledge remains hidden in plain sight? Let's hear Sean on this.
I need to introduce you to my friend Chris Beck. He used to work for he was a SEAL and then he worked for the Pentagon. He's basically, in a nutshell, a mad scientist, a brilliant mind, but he talks a lot about everything is frequency and vibration.
See, that's exactly the direction I would go. I think we're kind of in this phase right now where it's essentially trying to reverse engineer what these peoples of long ago were up to with all of this stuff.
Okay, now let's dive into plasma, a topic that might sound like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but is very much a part of our universe. Plasma isn't just something you find in blood or TVs. It's the fourth state of matter, and it's everywhere, from the sun to the stunning aurora borealis. What's fascinating is how plasma behaves when free from the bonds that hold together solids, liquids, and gases. When electrons and neutrons become disassociated, we get this vibrant, electrically charged state that can be shaped by magnetic fields. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Under the right conditions, plasma can organize itself into structures that look like something out of a cosmic blueprint. Imagine if we could harness this behavior. What could we do with a material that self-organizes in response to frequencies and vibrations? Well, Randall will tell you exactly that. The mind-blowing technology that actually exists today in the world but might be suppressed. It's a deep dive into how ancient knowledge paired with modern science could be unlocking extraordinary technologies that seem like magic to us. These technologies, which manipulate the fundamental principles of nature like plasma, could revolutionize everything from energy to environmental restoration. Now, let's listen to Randall Carlson as he unravels these hidden truths and offers us a glimpse into what might be one of the most transformative discoveries of our time.
The sun is plasma. Aurora borealis, the northern lights, is plasma. It's the fourth state of matter. It's what happens when the electrons and the neutrons become completely disassociated. Solid, liquid, gas, degrees of freedom between electrons and neutrons, right? Even in a gas, there's still bonds. But when you get to plasma, they completely break free. So now you have electrons, neutrons become ions, and because they're electrically charged, they can be influenced by magnetic fields. And they also have this tendency to self-organize under the right conditions. If you apply the right frequency It's like they spontaneously organize into toroidal forms. And then what happens is that, if you look at a torus in cross-section, it looks like an infinity sign. Here's what you do. Visualize a sphere with a North Pole and a South Pole. And now let's say you collapse that sphere so that the North Pole and the South Pole meet at the equator. So now you've got this like indentation in the north and the south. What then happens is that you get this electron or ion or both stream starts spiraling down that funnel, and as it's spiraling down, it's increasing and increasing in rotational velocity. Now, in the northern hemisphere, say, it's going clockwise, and in the southern, it's going counterclockwise. And they meet at the equatorial plane. And that's where something really interesting happens that I don't understand. Something happens there that's almost supernatural.
Before we dive into the actual technology, I want to share something that's been a game changer in my video creation process lately. This platform has revolutionized how I create content. It's like having a co-pilot for video production, utilized by over 25 million users worldwide. Whether you're crafting a detailed documentary or a brief clip for social media, you simply input a text prompt, and InVideo AI manages everything from scripting to editing and even sourcing relevant footage.
Ever wondered what secrets lie within the colossal structures of the Giza pyramids? Well, buckle up.
It's like being the director while InVideo AI handles all the technical work. Need to adjust your video? With just a few clicks, you can change the narration, tweak the visuals, or add subtitles.
Vous vous êtes déjà demandé quels secrets se cachent dans les colossales structures des pyramides de Gizeh.
And here's something truly cutting edge. InVideo AI's voice cloning feature allows you to narrate videos in your own voice, or any voice you choose, without ever needing a recording booth. This brings a unique, personal touch to your creations. And the best part? It's incredibly affordable. You can start using InVideo AI for free, but the premium plan starts at just $20 a month. This plan includes access to premium stock footage worth hundreds of dollars, no watermarks, and the innovative voice cloning feature. If you're interested in giving it a try, click the link in the description or scan the QR code on your screen. Use my code to receive double the video generation credits for your first month. Now, let's return to our discussion. The inventor behind this revolutionary plasma technology, someone who found a profound connection with Randall's work, reached out to him after a presentation. This connection wasn't just fleeting. It led to a serious discussion about the implications of this technology, a topic Randall even brought up on the Joe Rogan show.
And it's all based upon the ancient numbers. And they're developing technologies right now, and they have been. I was recently contacted and given the go-ahead that I could talk. I've been sitting on this for 7 years without talking about it because they asked me not to talk about it until they had their patents in place and their licensing. That's all happened since last summer. So we're now free to talk about it. I'm going to lay this on Graham so he can look at it too, because I really want to get Graham's feedback on this.
I mean, would it be fair to say that there's an element of a rediscovery of a
Yes.
lost technology from the past?
And so through this technology, they're able to move stones or cut stones or all the above?
All the above.
And even transport them? Whoa,
Yes.
what is all this?
For about 7 years, Randall was in discussions with this inventor, piecing together a puzzle that many of us would find hard to believe. Now, he's ready to share these insights with the world. Interestingly, even major corporations like Mazda are peeking over the fence, intrigued by the potential of this technology. Let's hear from Randall himself on how it all unfolded. Pay close attention when he mentions those ratios. I'm sure you'll make the connection.
When he first called me, he said, I've been working on this plasma energy and it's based on frequencies, and these frequencies are connected to these ancient sacred numbers. And he said, I watched a podcast and it was you giving a lecture and you were talking about ancient numbers, and the numbers you were mentioning were exactly the numbers that I found made this technology work. For example, the ratios of the spheres have to be in the ratio 4 to 3 to 2. And if they weren't in those proper ratios, you didn't get the effect.
Randall introduces an intriguing element to the discussion: the significance of certain numbers that appear repeatedly in ancient cultures, sacred geometry, and natural frequencies. These numbers, such as the one often referred to in esoteric circles, are believed to hold the key to understanding the universe's very fabric. Throughout history, these special numerical sequences have been revered not just for their mathematical beauty, but for their alleged ability to influence the physical and spiritual realms. For instance, these numbers are found in the architectural dimensions of ancient structures and in the tuning of musical instruments believed to resonate with natural energies. Randall's exploration isn't just an academic exercise, it's about practical application. He reveals that the effectiveness of the plasma technology he has been studying hinges on these precise ratios and frequencies. His discussion brings a scientific rigor to what might otherwise seem like mystical assertions, connecting these ancient numerical concepts to groundbreaking contemporary technologies. But what exactly is this technology? Randall isn't just talking theories. He has concrete evidence. He even shares photographs of a functioning installation outside of London, proving the technology works. This isn't a prototype or a concept. It's a real, operational example of how ancient numerical knowledge can be applied to modern energy solutions.
I was reluctant to talk about it. I went on Rogan's show with Graham Hancock a year ago last November, and I had already been in contact with Malcolm, one of the preeminent inventors and developers of technological applications of plasmas. I hadn't decided yet whether he was for real or not, but I'd been talking to him distance for over 7 years, and his story never changed. Right? And I took careful note of that, and I began looking at some of the things that he claimed as sources, and they all checked out. Going back to Nikola Tesla, right? Coming up through like half a dozen other researchers that had worked in some capacity trying to develop technologies around this plasma energy, like learning how to contain plasma and then extract energy from it. He's been developing these technologies using plasma, and it's frequency based. At this point, I already knew that the thunderstorm generator, and I'll show you pictures of one now that's been retrofitted on a 300 kilowatt generator on a substation outside of London. And they're testing the damn thing. And it works. It does what it's predicted to do, right? I mentioned that he was on an island where he'd gone because there had actually been a couple of attempts on his life.
Time and again, revolutionary technologies that could reshape our world face significant resistance, not just from skeptics, but from powerful corporate and media interests. This plasma technology, discussed by Randall Carlson, is a prime example, but it's far from the only one. Historically, numerous inventions from alternative energy sources to medical breakthroughs have languished in obscurity or been actively suppressed. Consider the case of Nikola Tesla, whose pioneering work in wireless energy transmission was decades ahead of its time, yet struggled to receive the funding and support it deserved. Or the story of Stanley Meyer, who claimed to have developed a water-powered car engine, only to be met with lawsuits and claims of pseudoscience. These stories share a common theme: the challenge of introducing technologies that disrupt established industries. The media often plays a pivotal role, not just by ignoring these innovations, but occasionally mocking them, shaping public perception to view them as impractical or implausible. This derision can effectively sideline even the most promising advancements. The inventor of the plasma technology we're discussing chose to open source his work, hoping to sidestep these barriers. By making his designs and data publicly available, he aimed to protect his invention from being buried by the interests of those who stand to lose from its success. It's a bold move, reflective of the struggles many innovators face in bringing transformative ideas to the forefront. But now, it seems the tide may be turning. Mazda has shown interest in this plasma technology, as Randall mentioned. This could be a sign that the mainstream is finally ready to embrace such innovative solutions, or it might be an outlier in an otherwise cautious industry. Will this interest from a major automotive manufacturer pave the way for broader acceptance and integration of this technology? Let's hear from Randall about the current state of this technology and its prospects for mainstream success.
So I kind of outed the guy inadvertently because he had told me that because of what the history of these kind of alternative energies not making it out, he decided he was going to use a different strategy. He was going to open source everything. All of his notes, and he had spent 7 years writing up his notes, several thousand pages of notes and schematics and diagrams. He had patent applications. All of this he was going to open source. I also mentioned the car manufacturer Mazda, who had expressed interest in the technology. Now, I don't think they've gone forward with it, but at the time I didn't realize, because I thought he'd given me the green light. I'm going to open source it, so, I'm going to put it all out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so turns out that he had and his small group of potential investors had signed a non-disclosure agreement with Mazda. And here I am on Joe Rogan. Mazda, the car manufacturer in Japan, is getting ready to do a $25 million testing of some of these prototypes. Shooting my big mouth off, innocently blabbing away.
Okay, now comes the most important part, where Randall Carlson explains in detail what he personally witnessed and describes the actual workings of this mind-blowing technology. It's the kind of stuff we often associate with visionaries like Nikola Tesla, not something you'd expect to find readily embraced by today's scientific community. This technology, while incredible, typically flies under the radar due to its unconventional nature and the skepticism that surrounds such claims. We know these technologies are possible. History is littered with accounts of inventions that were way ahead of their time. Yet, there's always that hint of doubt, especially when such innovations are ignored by mainstream channels, and when friends and family dismiss them because they aren't featured in popular media. It's this environment of skepticism that often stifles the growth and acceptance of groundbreaking technologies. Here's Randall, ready to share firsthand what exactly the technology did in his presence.
I knew that there was a whole series of testing coming up the next summer, which was last summer. And I was present at some of these tests and saw for myself what was happening. But I was there, saw it working, saw 2 generators, a control generator, and one with the technology. I watched as the engineers and the scientists there calibrated them both. And then I was the one who went up and started both generators. They're both in 2 separate rooms. So we've got readouts. We've got gas analyzers there, probes going up into the exhausts of the generators. We've got a couple of guys there with mass spectrometers hooked up. So we've got multiple ways of determining what's coming out of the exhaust pipes of these 2 generators, right? And we watched. So we got a first read. I can show you, actually. I've got a printout of the readouts right here on my computer.
Really?
Yeah, I do. And you can see you've got, I think it's called a Kane 5 something, because it measures 5 gases: carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, other hydrocarbons, probably like methane and whatever else, and oxygen. So basically, oxygen is like at a 4 or 5% coming out of the exhaust, which is about typical for a generator like that. You got, I think, like 12% of CO2, CO, etc. So as you're watching it, here's what happens. The carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, and nitrogen oxides start going down. Oxygen starts coming up.
Interesting.
CO2 zeroes out. Carbon monoxide zeroes out. The nitrogen oxides go down to just a few parts per million, as does the other hydrocarbons. Oxygen tops out at over 20, I don't remember exactly, between 20 and 21%, which is optimum percentage of oxygen for pure unpolluted air. So what is now coming out of the generator, the generator with the technology, is pure unpolluted air.
No kidding.
No kidding. No kidding. On top of that, what it's doing, it's capturing everything that's coming out, and it's feeding it back into the thunderstorm generator. So at the initial, in order to get the plasma separation to occur, I think you have to get it up to like 700 and some degrees. But once you do that, it's almost, not quite, but almost self-perpetuating. And you just have to replenish the water. Like, I forget, however few hundred hours that it runs, you have to replenish the water. And that's it.
Man, and you've seen this.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. And I've known, multiple people now that have seen it. The Admiral, he took it back to India. India is seriously looking at it and as a retrofit for their Navy.
Man.
The industrial, and I can show you this on the computer too. I've got photographs of like the big industrial scale application on the 300 kilowatt Perkins generator on the substation in London. I mean, they're testing it, and they may start retrofitting all of their because it doubles to triples the efficiency of these engines.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you think that they had this back in ancient times?
Randall Carlson shared his firsthand experience with the groundbreaking technology that challenges our current understanding of energy and environmental management. He described witnessing tests on a technology that effectively manipulates and transforms exhaust gases in real time. Here's the science of what Randall observed. 2 generators were set up, one as a control and the other equipped with this revolutionary technology. Various instruments, including gas analyzers and mass spectrometers, monitored the outputs. Initially, typical readings were recorded: oxygen at about 4 to 5%, carbon dioxide around 12%, and other gases like carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxides present in smaller amounts. As the test progressed, something extraordinary happened.
the levels of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide began to drastically decrease, eventually zeroing out. Nitrogen oxides and other hydrocarbons also reduced to just a few parts per million, while the oxygen levels significantly increased, stabilizing at an optimal 20 to 21%, the ideal for unpolluted air. This technology doesn't just filter, it transforms. It appears to catalyze a reaction where harmful pollutants are not just captured, but converted, likely into less harmful substances, with oxygen being one of the byproducts. This suggests a form of plasma-induced reaction, where high temperatures achieved in the generator cause a breakdown of chemical bonds, allowing new formations. This is supported by the need to reach temperatures around 700 degrees to initiate the process. The implications of this are staggering. The technology is essentially turning pollutants into breathable air, and it's doing so in a self-sustaining cycle, only requiring periodic water replenishment. Observers, including seasoned scientists and engineers, were baffled. Even Randall, with all his experience, described the effects as nearly impossible, a sentiment echoed by others who could only verify the results repeatedly without fully grasping the underlying mechanics. Moreover, the potential applications extend beyond simple pollution control. Discussions have explored how this technology could be adapted for space travel, submarines, and even converting hydrocarbon pollution in oceans into useful proteins. The transformative nature of this technology could revolutionize how we manage environmental challenges. It's important to remember the significance of what's being claimed here. A system that cleans air, conserves itself, and adapts across various applications isn't just innovative, it's revolutionary. It begs a broader discussion on how such technologies are developed, tested, and ultimately accepted or rejected by industries and regulators. Now, revisiting Sean's question.
And you think that they had this back in ancient times?
Consider how mind-blowing this technology is today. Imagine what might have been possible in ancient times, when they built the pyramids and other wonders of the world that still mystify us in terms of their construction, purpose, and the technologies they used. It really makes you think. But Randall doesn't stop there. He notes that even the scientists present at the testing are scratching their heads. They're at a loss to fully explain how this technology works.
When I was there at this testing, I'm seeing these scientists, physicists and engineers stuff, they're all scratching their heads, going, okay, we see this, but they've been struggling for a year now to explain what is actually happening. He says, I'm the biggest skeptic around. And what I saw can't happen. What I saw is impossible, but I saw it. He's there with his, he had a thermal analyzer. And we've got videos of him here and there testing as this stream of stuff is moving through these cylinders and pipes and stuff. And literally with 4 inches, the temperature can change by over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And he says, this is impossible. He says, I kept testing and testing and testing with my thermal analyzer, and it came up the same every time. He says, I'm not sure what. He says, we're just at the beginning of trying to figure out what the hell is happening here. But then he went in to discuss the potential applications of it. Now, one of the big questions is okay, when you do look at these readouts, okay, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, the other things go down. In some cases, zero out. In other cases, it doesn't zero out entirely, but it's only a small fraction of what it had been. Meanwhile, the oxygen's gone up. So then the question, okay, where did the carbon dioxide go? Where did the carbon monoxide go? Well, it looks like it somehow got transmuted on the atomic level into oxygen. And how bizarre that the concentration of oxygen coming out of the exhaust pipes is the optimum oxygen that we would want for unpolluted, breathable air. And that's what's coming out. But there's other applications that look like they could be, I mean, some of the stuff that I've seen some of these guys talking about is space travel, submarines, possibly even the conversion of hydrocarbon-based pollution in oceans into protein, which could be very interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about that, but that's one of the potential applications. that's already been demonstrated to be possible.
What do you really think? Is this possible? Will we hear more about this technology, or will it be suppressed? As I said at the beginning of this video, The Sean Ryan Show is quickly becoming my favorite, and for good reason. If you haven't checked it out yet, I urge you to visit his page. Sean is one of the realest interviewers out there, and his conversations are nothing short of amazing. You'll find all the links in the description below. Believe me, you'll be amazed by his interviews.